A beautiful young girl is left home alone with only her dog to protect her. On the news that night, they announced there is a serial killer on the loose in the area. Before she goes to bed, she locks all the doors and tries to lock all the windows, but the one in the basement won't lock. She decides to leave it unlocked, but locks the basement door and goes to bed. Her dog takes its customary place under her bed. In the deep of night, she awakens to a dripping sound coming from her bathroom. Half awake, the girl feels the comforting lick from her dog and falls back to sleep. She reawakens to the dripping sound, reaches her hand down to the dog, where she feels the reassuring lick and falls back to sleep. Once more, she awakens to the dripping sound. She reaches her hand down and feels the lick of her dog. Now curious about the dripping sound, she gets up and slowly walks towards the bathroom, the dripping sound getting louder as she approaches. She reaches the bathroom and turns on the light. She's greeted with an horrific sight. Hanging from the shower nozzle is her dog with its throat slit open and its blood dripping into the bathtub. Something on the bathroom mirror catches her eye. She turns around. Written on the wall in her dog's blood are the words, Humans can lick too. August 13th, 1921. Professor Herbert Clayton, Children's Ward, St. Mary's Children's Hospital, Fife, Scotland. Dear Professor, my trusted friend and mentor, I write to you in hope that you may advise me on a matter of urgency concerning a patient of mine. Edward is a boy of just 9 years old, who arrived with his mother 6 days ago with a disposition so positive that we did not at first admit him. This did not last long. Edward claims that 6 days ago, while playing in the garden, he became aware of someone or something watching him. He identified the shadowy figure like black ink with large circular eyes and elongated limbs. Edward described that while it resembled an owl, it spoke as if it inside his head with a voice of his recently deceased father. The voice apparently told Edward that it would come for him in 7 days to take him to the desolate plain, a place name that I am unfamiliar with. It's a mere mention brought by Edward into a fit of hysteria. His condition has deteriorated quickly in the last few days. The boy has become convinced that the shadowy figure has returned and is moving closer to him each time he sees it. The delusion appears to have some connection to mirrors and glass, both of which Edwards has banished from his room. I write to you, Professor, because on the final night of Edward's imaginary deadline, I went to check upon the boy and found that he was not alone in this room. I could discern only two things in the moonlight, each of them a sight I shall take to the grave. First, a figure whose retracting limbs cracked like broken wood as it moved into the shadows. The second, a look of such tragic countenance etched upon the child's face that none could suffer it and be unmoved. I heard your voice from the shadows, emanating from two round eyes that glinted and lost themselves like waves upon a black sea. But it was not your voice, Professor, and I write to you now, because Edward passed away this morning and I am no longer alone, even when I believe myself to be. Faithfully, Dr. George. One afternoon, a couple was traveling on by car when at a far distance they saw a woman in the middle of the road, waving frantically. The wife told her husband to keep on driving because it might be too dangerous, but the husband decided to pass by slowly so he wouldn't stay with the doubt on his mind of what might have happened and the chances of anyone being hurt. As they got closer, they noticed a woman with cuts and bruises on her face as well as on her arms. They then decided to stop and see if they could be of any help. The cut and bruised woman was begging for help, telling them that she had been in a car accident and that her husband and son and newborn baby were still inside the car, which was in a deep ditch. She told them that the husband was already dead, but that her baby seemed to still be alive. The husband that was traveling decided to get down and try to rescue the baby, and he asked the hurt woman to stay with his wife inside their car. When he got down, they noticed two people in the front seats of the car, but he didn't pay any importance to it and took out the baby quickly and got up to take the baby to its mother. When he got up, he didn't see the mother anywhere, so he asked his wife where she had gone. She told him that the woman followed him back to the crashed car. When the husband went back to look for her, he noticed that clearly the couple in the front seat were dead, one of whom was unmistakably the